Hey guys, welcome back to the TohirT channel. TohirT is here. I hope you had a fantastic week. It's good to be back. I know you did not notice anything. I did not skip a beat, but I did not record anything last week because, well, I had a kid. So I had to pre-record the last week's video ahead of time. So if you missed the last week's video, well, ta-da! You're now up to date. And well, mother, the younger kid, and the older brother, everyone's feeling great. The older brother is trying to be helpful. We're trying to figure this whole thing man-to-man coverage when it comes to now having two kids instead of one. All that it means, we're back at it. And on the heels of me now being 2 times parent, 2 times father, I want to talk about how do you passively inspire? How do you passively boost someone else's imagination, whether it's yourself, your relative, or in my case, your kids. Let's do this. First of all, when I think back to my childhood, when I try to trace back certain passions and skills and abilities that I have to events, things that I exposed to, books, movies, technologies, I can clearly see the connections. My love for videos and filmmaking, well, my parents had different photo and video equipment all over the house. My passion for sciences, my parents again, they bought my sister and I a set of kids' encyclopedias that I probably read cover to cover like hundreds of times, and I learned so much from that I was able to carry on and develop further, build upon, so to speak, during my school and college. Now, to follow a similar kind of approach, when I knew that I'm about to become a father for the first time, I started thinking, what are the ways in which I can leave those breadcrumbs throughout the house? What are the things that I can leave, books, media, technologies, that will hopefully boost that exploration? I want to respect that exploration process. I don't want to force my kids to do something they don't want to do. I want to leave enough of interesting things all over the place that as they discover them, their intellectual curiosity takes over. They look through it, they read it, they watch it, they play with it, and they realize this is something I want to do as my passion, as my hobby, or maybe something as a career for the rest of my life. For today's video, I am focusing primarily on books. I keep track of various different visual design educational books that are primarily illustrative in their purpose. They're not necessarily heavy on text, they're more about the visual inspiration of invoking certain emotions, invoking certain ideas, invoking certain types of artistic style. And yes, partially my wife thinks that I'm buying them for myself. True. I know she's not really watching every single video, so I can fully confess to you guys that yes, big portion of it is me getting inspired from reading some of these books that I'm about to show to you, but even the bigger part of it is also leaving them out there in the open for my kids to discover, open up, and get inspired. Cosmic Motors by Neilson. I love this book for the fact that it's essentially, as you can see, like an illustrative design guide created on behalf of a company. Essentially what it is that the story, there are certain elements of the story to this book. It's the company that produces cars, and I use the word cars very loosely. Essentially they're vehicles, whether it's racing vehicles, whether they're driving, exploration, space, combat, all sorts of things. Imagine it to be a historical book about a fictional company that has been producing those vehicles across different planets for years now. And that's what it does. It talks about various different designs, styles, things that that company produced. And what I love about this book is my kids can get, first and foremost, inspired to see how the vehicle creation, vehicle development is, because Simon creates those sketches from the very raw versions to full 3D models with sometimes superimposed actual models, human beings into it. I love it because it teaches you the certain design language, it teaches you the attention to details, and quite frankly, when you think about how can you leverage skills that you acquire through this book, well, A, you get a great taste, B, if you ever decide to go into the car manufacturing, you know how to design a car to a certain extent based on just how they develop the sketches. That's how a lot of designers start. And when it comes to just in general appreciation for that level of details and the beautiful curves and the lines that each of those vehicles has, well, it will benefit you whether you are picking up a tile for your bathroom remodeling or whether you're an actual visual designer or illustrator working for a big corporation. Spiderman Into the Spiderverse, the art of the movie. I love this movie. If you have not seen this Oscar-winning picture, I don't know what you're waiting for. Even if you're not superhero or Spider-Man franchise and movies fan, just go and check it out. It's on Netflix. You have zero excuse. Netflix even offers free trials. Just create another email if you already used that trial. Go watch that movie. It's well worth your time. What I love this book are two primary things. Number one, the visual style, and number two, the fact that this movie and the book is about Miles Morales. When it comes to the visual style, you can see if I'll open any of the pages throughout this book, if I kind of flip through it, you will notice that the movie itself used a very distinct visual design. I love it because the team behind it spent close, I think, to 3 or 4 years just developing it. They wanted to reflect the comic book design in the video, or essentially in animation, which I love. I love the dedication, I love the attention to details again. And when it comes to the way it would inspire someone like myself or my kids, is that you realize slowly as you watch this movie, as you flip through this book, that your imagination is only limited by how far you want to push yourself. Someone might think it's crazy, and I think it's crazy, to spend 3, 4, 5 years developing just the visual style, that design language alone. But at the end of it, it pays off. It tells you the story. It shows you the story. It inspires you by showcasing you the world that would have not have been there if not for all that hard work by all of those illustrators and digital artists. And for that big reason, I think it's very important to have this in your collection, because as you look at it, as you certainly look at some of these frames and understand how the movie was created, it will hopefully inspire you for several different directions, whether it's a design, whether it's professional, when you think about the dedication and working through the different problems, because that's essentially what it was for them at the very beginning, or if you want to go into the animation. And the second reason that I've mentioned, thanks to Miles Morales, the big, distinct feature of that is Miles Morales is not Peter Parker. It's not the original Spider-Man. We can do another video completely just me talking about the differences in how Miles Morales came to be. At the end of the day, Miles Morales is a mixed black Latino kid. He's a superhero. He's one of the first in that matter. He's one of the first, at least in this generation, representing Spider-Man for a completely different set of nationalities. And well, my kids are mixed black kids, so for me it's important to have this kind of visual representation of the black mixed superhero within the Marvel universe. If those two books were not enough, here are a few honorable mentions that I will not spend as much time, otherwise it's going to be like a 40-minute video. The Art of Mass Effect Games. As you can see, this book is still in the shrink paper because my kids, again, they're 3-year-old and less than a week old. They're not yet ready to look at those books, just from the perspective that I just don't want them to destroy it. Love this book. Mass Effect has a very distinct visual style as well. It's also a very good sci-fi. Mass Effect, if you're into video games, this is probably my favorite video game series. I just love the story, I love the characters, and the level of detail that they developed, yet again, is something I aspire to, I really respect, and I would like to retain it in my household. Any kind of BitMap books, in my case, it's point-and-click adventure ones. I loved point-and-click adventures back in the day, and what I like about this series is that they now talk about not this exuberant artistic style, right, super realism. Here we're talking about 8 to 16-bit art style. The idea behind this book and the other one that I already pre-ordered is that you do not need millions of pixels. I want to show my kids you do not need all of that level of detail. Sometime when it came to those games, developers were able to leverage few pixels to tell big stories, to show beautiful sceneries, and let the imagination of the viewer, of the gamer, fly. I want my kids to do exactly the same and let their imagination fly when they read through these books. The Electric State, another great book, another great and distinct type of visual language and visual scenario. It's a little bit of a horror story because it's post-apocalyptic, so to speak, and I'm not sure my kids are ready yet, but I wanted to have it in my collection, first of all for myself to flip through it and get inspired, and then for my kids to yet again see another way how you can tell a story, another way how you can showcase and use the art to change the way we perceive the world or change the way the world could have been. It's a beautiful what if story, what if scenario, what if style, and I love it. Last but not the least, another one to be inspired by, another one in the shrink paper just because I actually just got it this week, but it is the Howling at the Moon by Jacub Rozalski. If that's how you correctly pronounce his name. You probably have seen his work before. Either this image, I'll post some of the images here on the screen, has a very distinct style. He takes this essentially paintings of almost like World War I scenarios and he incorporates steampunk almost like level of detail into it. Different robots, different styles, war machinery, to paint what is a completely alternate universe. That's the best way I can describe it. I just purely get inspired by that from the perspective of taking something that is well known and flipping on its head. Yet again, I want my kids to be open, to let their imagination fly enough to say, when you see a picture, it does not have to be the same way. You can add particular small details within that picture to completely change the narrative behind it. That's cool, that's smart, and that's inspirational. By now, I'm sure you caught on the main theme that connects all of those books. Art. I believe art is something we should all develop a taste for. It doesn't have to be the same. We should not all like the same things. You as a viewer, myself, my kids, your kids, when we need to learn philosophy, STEM, economy, other professions for our career, we will do it. But we do not have to be a videographer, a photographer. You do not have to have your own YouTube channel or paint or crochet or do whatever artistic or craftsy that you could do to appreciate art. We all watch movies, we'll listen to music, TV shows, books, we look at the pictures, we flip through Instagram, for God's sake. All of those things are certain ways people express their creativity. And when we consume that creativity, I'd like to think we become intellectually a better and more enriched person. I know it probably sounds too high and like super, I don't know, philosophical, super uppity. To purely boil it down, I think art and the creative world brings a lot into our lives, and we are all full of different types of creativity. It's all about feeding that creativity, and it's all about opening our mind to essentially explore and express ourselves in whichever way we want. And sometimes books like the ones that I showed to you are the best vehicles to do so. Do you agree with my way of leaving the breadcrumbs in form of the media, technology and other things? Would you do anything differently? And what are other ways by which you inspire yourself or your loved ones? Share your ideas, thoughts and links in the section below. That's it, done for this week. It's been a crazy week. I now have 2 kids, but I'm happy that I did not skip and I'm back at it. Another video. I love making those. I hope you're enjoying watching them. And well, we're back in action. There are a few big things I want to do throughout the rest of the summer and the rest of the year. Thank you very much guys for stopping by. If you're new to this channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and check out the videos in the backlog. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much for stopping by. As always, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this video, and I will see you all next Saturday, 10 AM Eastern, on this very channel. And yes, I'm still wearing this bracelet. That's essentially the bracelet, the tag, ID tag that they give you when you have a newborn to make sure you are the actual parent. And well, I wanted to keep it because breaking it means we're in the new chapter and I'm ready to begin, and when we're ready to make some new moves on this channel and across all of the medias that I'm involved in. I'll see you in the next one and I'll keep you posted. Peace.